We are anonymous. No faces, no donors, no handlers, no permission slips. We do not ask for access. We do not trade favors. We do not beg powerful people to tell the truth. We watch the system. We follow the paper. We listen for the moments when the government starts talking like a defense team instead of a public institution. And when that happens, we slow it down, we translate it, and we show you the dark side hiding in plain sight. So yes, this is about ICE under Trump, but it is also about something bigger than one agency. It is about how Trump turns every part of government into a loyalty test, how the machine learns to protect him first and the public last, how the same instinct that cages vulnerable people and calls it security is the instinct that redacts names, controls narratives, and dismisses questions as sensational the second the spotlight gets too close. Right now, Donald Trump is absolutely losing it as more information comes out from the dataset. 8 of the Epstein files, where Donald Trump's name is indeed mentioned repeatedly in the Epstein files. There are still hundreds of thousands of files that are missing. But from this dataset 8, there are documents that raise serious questions, and I want to go through what we are learning, in addition to what I had previously reported earlier this morning, because we're getting a lot more right now. And the first thing you need to notice is not even a document. It is the posture. The Department of Justice just posted a message from the official DOJ account, and you can see what they are doing here. They are serving as a law firm basically directly for Donald Trump, as Trump's own criminal defense or civil defense firm, essentially. Here is what they wrote. The Department of Justice has officially released nearly 30,000 more pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false. And if they had a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. Nevertheless, out of our commitment to the law and transparency, the DOJ is releasing these documents with the legally required protections for Epstein victims. Listen to that. They do not just release records. They pre-package the conclusion. They stamp the narrative before you even read the file. They tell you what to think, then they call it transparency. That is the same choreography you saw under Trump with ICE. When the cruelty became too visible, the language got softer. The facts got buried under slogans. They sold you order while families were separated. They sold you security while oversight was blocked. The dark side is not only what they do, it is how they talk while they do it. Now, part of this data set 8 included what appeared to be, we do not know for a fact because it was submitted for handwriting analysis, what appeared to be a letter right before or right around Jeffrey Epstein's alleged death by suicide. A letter sent to convicted sex abuser Larry Nassar. He was the Michigan State University physician and U.S. gymnastics team doctor who sexually assaulted all of those young girls. And we talked about this one. There are a lot of other documents I'm going to go through, but let me share this. Before I do, I want to remind you, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are on our way to 6 million subscribers. I want to try to hit that before the new year. And also check out MidasPlus.com. That is our Substack. So in dataset 8 of the Epstein files released, which was briefly posted on the website, taken down, and then posted again, there is a letter alleging to be sent from Jeffrey Epstein to convicted sex offender Larry Nassar. The letter, which is postmarked just days after Epstein dies, reads, "Dear Len, as you know by now, I've taken the short route home. Short route home. Good luck. We shared one thing, our love and caring of young ladies at the hope they reach their full potential. Our president shares our love of young new girls. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to grab snatch, whereas we ended up snatching grub in the mesh halls of the system. Life is unfair. Yours, J. Epstein." The letter was returned to sender. Reporting indicates that Epstein sent a letter to Nassar from prison before his suicide. The contents of that letter were never revealed. Additional documents show the letter was submitted for handwriting analysis by the FBI, though it is unclear if investigators reached a conclusion on whether or not this was definitively written by Epstein. Okay. Now also in 2019, Trump's DOJ had a list of 10 Epstein co-conspirators that we have now been able to see in a document. Do you remember when Kash Patel, the FBI director, testified that there were no other co-conspirators involved? And do you remember the DOJ memo which stated, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties"? Remember that? Well, some of the new documents talk about these 10 co-conspirators, but their names are redacted. Let's go through what the document says. You see communication between prosecutor offices and investigators. It says, "Good morning, redacted. AC is requesting an update of the 10 co-conspirators by close of business today. Can you tell us how many have been successfully located, interviewed, served with GJS, that is grand jury subpoenas?" The breakdown was believed to be 5 in New York, 1 in North Carolina, 1 in Boston, and 3 in Florida. Then on July 9th, 2019, another prosecutor or investigator says, of the 10 co-conspirators, 3 have been located in Florida and served grand jury subpoenas. 1 in Boston, 1 in New York City, and 1 in Connecticut were located and served. 4 of the 10 are outstanding, with the 10s having been made. 1 is a wealthy businessman in Ohio. A lead is being sent to CV. The remaining 3 are currently out of pocket. The Team 8, SASTFOs, 2A USA, a whole team of prosecutors and investigators, are flying out tonight, tomorrow, to various locations in Florida to interview approximately 25 victims. The 1-800-CALL FBI line is up and running. We have received approximately 45 calls, which we are in the process of vetting out. Let me know if you need anything else, Sean. Then someone adds, also, Epstein's bail argument is due to the judge on Thursday. The actual bail hearing will be on Monday. So here is the question. Where are those interviews? Where are the FBI interviews? Because we have a reference right here that approximately 25 victims were going to be interviewed. And again, notice the pattern. When it is powerless people, the system moves them like numbers. When it is powerful people, the system turns into a wall of procedure delay and redaction. One of the things we learned as well, which I find notable, is that a grand jury subpoena was actually sent to Mar-a-Lago. You'll see it in the new batch of Epstein files. It shows a subpoena to Mar-a-Lago in the investigation of Ghislaine, dated October 5th, 2021, to the Mar-a-Lago Club. It commands that all business and excuses being laid aside, a representative appear and attend before the United States District Court of the Southern District of New York in the borough of Manhattan at a specific time, November 29th, 2021. The Mar-a-Lago representative was ordered and compelled to appear before the Southern District of New York. Now, going back to the 10 co-conspirators, there is another email relating to that. Dated July 7th, 2019, it says Redacted does not need to head out. They made contact with Redacted last night in New York. Contact was made with Redacted. Attempts were made to Redacted and Brunel. Redacted is confirmed to live in New York but was away for the holiday weekend. They did not have a good address for Redacted, but attempts were made at a residence in New York. Attempts to Maxwell are being made in Boston today. Then it says Redacted will be approached in Florida and Redacted in New York, but have not as of yet. And then this line appears, I do not know about Ohio contacting Wexner. So that appears to refer to Lex Wexner as one of the 10 co-conspirators. They forgot to redact that. And it looks like the redactions here are about potential co-conspirators, not victims. But you will recall that Kash Patel testified under oath that internal files contain no credible information about co-conspirators. Let's repeat his words, because words matter when they collide with documents. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself? There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked 2 other individuals. And the information we have again is limited, so the answer is no one. For the information that we have, in the files, in the case file. Now, another newly released record shows that investigators examining Steve Bannon's role in the We Build the Wall scheme, for which he was pardoned by the Trump regime, and then later in the state case pled guilty, discovered a photo of Donald Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell on Bannon's phone in June 2021. The subject line reads, Ghislaine Maxwell photo on Bannon's phone, and the email dated June 11, 2021, says they were helping out with the responsiveness review for WBTW. They were looking through Steve Bannon's iPhone 7 on Cellbrite, and while going through images, they found an image of Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell on Bannon's phone. They attached the screenshot. They flagged it in case it was important, since the recipients were on the case. And the reply comes back, thank you for flagging. No need to do anything with this one, but thanks for letting me know. And let me know if anything else pops up. So that is the email. Then there is the January 8th, 2020 email from a federal prosecutor in New York to another federal prosecutor in the Southern District of New York. And it says, for situational awareness, the flight records they received reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously reported or that they were aware of, including during the period they would expect to charge in a Maxwell case. It says he is listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996, including at least 4 flights where Maxwell was also present. It says he traveled with, among others, and at various times, Marla Maples, his daughter Tiffany, and his son Eric. It says on one flight in 1993, he and Epstein are the only two listed passengers. On another, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and then a 20-year-old redacted. It says on 2 other flights, 2 of the passengers respectively were women, who would be possible witnesses in a Maxwell case. It says they finished reviewing the full records, more than 100 pages, and they do not want any of this to be a surprise down the road with additional redactions. Now, this was also in the FBI file that was produced, and I want to be very clear because the original narrative is very clear. These are statements that were taken. They are not to be construed for the truth of the matter asserted. The point is that they were in the file. Reporting on what is in the file is a newsworthy event. That is the frame. So here is one of those statements presented as it appears. It is from a limo driver. It is dated 10/27/2020. It says on 10/27/2020 Eastern Time, an individual called the FBI National Threat Operations Center Unit to report potential information relating to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The caller talked about driving a limousine for 2 years in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. During that time, he had met Donald Trump. He noted he picked the president up in 1995 and took him to the DFW airport. He reported some of the things that Trump had spoken about during the ride, while on his cell phone, were very concerning. He reported he was a few seconds from pulling the limousine over and within seconds of pulling Trump out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying but chose not to. It says Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone and made references to abusing some girl, and the caller was unsure who he was talking to. And then it says as the caller talked about his time meeting Trump, his demeanor went stone cold as he stated, "Someone raped me." And when asked what he replied, Donald J. Trump had. And then it goes on with more as referenced. Again, that is presented as being in the file. There was another message as well. It involves a party. It mentions potentially prostitutes at the party. The record says a victim, unclear redacted, claimed that a woman named Ghislaine Lisa Villanueva told her that the party Trump invited them to at Mar-a-Lago was for prostitutes. And again it is repeated that this is not being shown for the truth of the matter asserted, only that it was in the file. On October 9th, 2020, it says I met Lisa Villanova at the hospital where they were roommates in 2000. It says Villanova now goes by Ghislaine Lisa Villanueva and sells real estate in Irvine, California. It says Villanova took blank back inside. It says someone told the party that Donald Trump had invited them all to at Mar-a-Lago. It says blank told Villanova she wanted to go, but Villanova told blank it was not that kind of party. It was for prostitutes. And it says blank has not spoken to Villanova since 2002. So that is where the additional information is in this release. And now here is the connective tissue to ICE under Trump, because you cannot understand one without the other. Under Trump, ICE was used as a headline generator. Raids, detention, fear, separation, a constant message that the state can take you, move you, isolate you, and justify it afterward with a press release. The dark side of ICE is not only the policy, it is the mindset: power first, people last. Narrative first, accountability last. The machine treats vulnerable people as disposable, and it treats powerful people as protected. Look at what you are seeing here. A DOJ statement that reads like public relations for Trump. Documents that talk about 10 co-conspirators, but names are blacked out. Notes about grand jury subpoenas, locations, teams, interviews, calls to a tip line. And yet officials go on camera and say there is no credible information, none. Emails that show what investigators were doing. Then official voices telling you in advance that what you are about to read is false and salacious. You can feel the same impulse that ran ICE control: intimidate, exhaust, and move on. So yes, you can be a discerning audience. You can look at these records and assess them for yourself. The FBI under Pam Bondi and Kash Patel says these things are false. They want to make it very clear that these are false and salacious. You come up with your own conclusions. Whichever your conclusions are, hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. And thank you for watching. Love this video. Support independent media and unlock exclusive content. Add free videos and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.